Hey guys, welcome to another video, and today we're going to be talking about my Portland Retro Gaming Expo trip that I took this year. Sorry this video is a bit late. The original video, unfortunately, got hosed. I couldn't restore it, and yeah, my computer had shut down on me. Windows had an error and all that crap, but anyways, I redid the video for you guys, and I'm happy that I'm just getting it out to you guys. Honestly, after that happened, I said, forget this video, I'm not going to do it, but next day I got motivated and I said, you know what, I'm going to make this happen. Now, I headed to the show this year with my buddy Ty. We got to the show and, pretty much everybody was still setting up. It was, pretty, just basic and everything like that. But usually that's the only time that I'll get to socialize with anybody at the show, because once the show starts, man, it's go, go, go. But during the show, I met up with my friend Jesus. He flew all the way from Spain to come to the show. So met up with him. We got to the hotel, put our stuff in there, and we said, you know what, let's go mingle with everybody. So we went back to the show, started talking with everybody, tried to get a taste of the free play arcade, but man, it was packed. I was like, dude, man. I mean, I got to play some games. I got to play Jesus and Street Fighter on the Genesis because they had consoles set up there. But man, the arcades were packed, dude. It was pretty awesome. And this was even before the show started. But I got to look around and see everybody set up as they were setting up, seeing what places I would hit first the next day. It was really crazy to think that the show, it's been almost 3 years since we had the PRGE show happen. I was like, man, it was crazy. And a lot of my friends that usually come with me weren't able to make it this year. So it was quite different, not having them around. But I did get to hang around with friends I usually don't get to hang around at these shows. My buddy Cooper Bates from Double Jump Video Games was there, and I got to hang with him. I think a good hour we got to hang out, which was nice. I got to show him some of my pickups and everything while I was at the show. So, man, I really got to get to his store, man. I feel like Cooper has always been disappointed in me because I never made it to his shop yet. So, Jason, if you're watching this video, man, we gotta take a road trip and also play Silent Scope. It's freaking awesome. As usual this year, the free play arcade was lit. I mean, man, it was packed even the day before the event started. All the pinball machines, arcade machines, they had console machines set up for people to play old school games. It was just crazy. I got to play a couple of games, but I was so busy, I couldn't really enjoy the free play arcade like I wanted. But man, everybody else did, and it was awesome seeing them have a good time. I'm really hoping next year that I'll have time to enjoy the free play arcade, because man, if you guys see this place, it's just so amazing and it's so much fun, just playing the pinball games, switching between certain games that you like. It's just amazing. And seeing the kids play the 6-player X-Men brought back fond memories of when I was a kid. So I think next year I'm going to get there even earlier to get to try some of these games out. But man, it was packed. But it was still a lot of fun, and like I said, it was nice seeing everybody have a good time during this event, because this is the free play arcade is like an area where you can kind of sit and relax and kind of catch yourself at, because going into the event itself when you're buying games and walking around, man, it's so much going on. It's pretty crazy. It can take a lot of energy out of you. So when you want to kind of sit and relax and gather your thoughts, play a nice video game, kind of remember your past and all the good times. The next day when the show actually opened up, I wanted to get there an hour earlier, but I got there right around opening time. I was just too tired the night before, so I got in there and I randomly started checking out certain vendors that I hadn't seen the day before, and I saw a bunch of PC games I thought Jason would like, but I'm pretty sure he has most of these, or probably all of them. I got to briefly see Double Jump Games, but I didn't see Coop around anywhere. So this is what I talk about when everybody's so busy. The day before is the day you probably get to hang with most people, because once the show starts, it takes off. And of course, I had to look at the Game Boy games in the box. I was pretty impressed with what I saw here. I missed out on the game I wanted here, unfortunately. It sold right before I got there. But still, it was nice seeing a good selection of Game Boy games. This next booth was really cool because they had a lot of games in box. They had some loose manuals as well. Didn't find anything I needed, but still, it was nice seeing this stuff here as well. Do any of you guys collect N64 games in box? That might be something easy to collect for in box, because I don't think there's a lot of N64 games. I can't remember how many were made, at least in America. But still, collecting anything in box is pretty pricey these days. I saw a Panasonic Q system in box. I hadn't seen one of these at the show, I think, since 2015 or 16. So that was cool to see. Panasonic Q system, if you guys don't know about it, it was the DVD drive for the GameCube, so it allowed you to watch movies on your system. But just so you know, it is not region free, so you have to get it modded. Oh, check this out, a couple of grid frames. I'll be talking about these in a future video. And check out this N64 system. I'm not sure if that was one of the main colors that came from Nintendo themselves. That's probably custom made. I'm not really sure. You guys let me know in the comments. And we got some Sega CD games here. Oh, this booth looks familiar. I think this is my buddy Jeff's booth. Did a trade with him at the show. Got a few games that you'll see later in this list. But man, you can see how crazy the show is. It can be overwhelming sometimes. This booth was pretty impressive. He had a lot of import stuff, a lot of cool Play Asia English stuff, Play Asia exclusive, limited run stuff. You know, I was like, man, this booth was insane. And he did a deal, 20% off of all his games, and I picked up a game I'll show you guys later in the video. It was a Vita game, but I almost picked up this one called Luck Slinger. I was like, I don't know. I looked at some gameplay and I said, you know what, I'm going to put it down. But if I did pick it up, it would have been $40, so maybe I missed out on something. This is actually the game I actually bought from him. And yeah, I'll talk about this one a little bit later in the video. But this booth was awesome. I wish I went back there more. It was just way too crowded when I was there. So I decided to come back a little bit later and check them out. And that's when I was lucky and they did the 20% off everything sale. So, man, it was some deals to be had here. It was pretty awesome. I wish my buddy Ron was here. He would have had a field day at this booth, man. And here are some of the imports they had. Lots of Dreamcast, some Sega Saturn, no PlayStation 1 imports. I was kind of shocked about that. But still, they had a lot of good deals, man. And this is the type of vendor that I hope will be there next year. They were awesome. What you're seeing here is how busy it was in the beginning within the first hour. But it took off from this, and I couldn't even really record at that point. But for me, capturing the best footage was in the beginning, you know, before it got too crowded. And that's what I was trying to do here. This booth had a lot of cool DS games. I feel like I'm done with the DS. I feel like I found everything I've really wanted on that system, but you never know. But yeah, great selection of games that they had here. And I came back to this one a couple of times, but I didn't pick anything up, unfortunately. Here's my buddy Jeffrey's booth, Premium Edition Games, Modern Retro done right. And right they are, because they have some awesome packaging for a lot of their games. And as you can see here, these are some of their latest releases. I already have most of these, but it was nice seeing this setup. And I got to see a lot of their future projects as well, so I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, definitely keep Premium Edition Games on your radars, guys. They have a lot of great stuff for us retro gamers. Probably wondering, like, how do I know all this information? Well, because they told me. I can't say a lot of stuff here, but definitely keep a lookout for them, guys. Seeing PS1 stuff always puts a smile on my face, and there was plenty of that around, mixed with some Dreamcast, but I didn't find any PS1 games that I really wanted at the show, and this is like the first time that's happened. I really feel like I kind of plateaued on that system. But here's a booth that was nice. They had 30% off, so man, it was packed over here for a minute. I was like, wow. I found a bunch of cool games here that I'll show later in the pickups part. But I found some GBA games that I've really been wanting here, so that was really cool. Something I wanted to ask you all, are you guys still collecting NES pretty much? I don't know if it's as popular as it used to be back in like 2014. But I don't really hear about a lot of NES collecting these days. I guess sealed collecting is kind of taking over, getting games like graded. But I remember NES used to be really popular, so I was surprised I didn't see a lot of people grabbing that stuff. Damn, I really should have grabbed that Mortal Kombat 2 right there, but it was just so much going on, I totally forgot about it. But yeah, lots of cool games here. Oh, remember this game, Samurai Western? What a cool game that was, right? I talked about that one. Everybody went for that one. Then we got Silent Hill Greatest Hits. A lot of people should look for that Silent Hill Greatest Hits. It has extra scenario on it. And then we have the graded games, if you're into that. Oh, faceplate. I know Jason's looking for these. I got to keep an eye out for more of those for him. I know he has that one. Then we have some Game Boy Advance games. I have most of those. Oh, man. I missed out on those ones. I totally forgot about those. I was recording, and I forgot about them. Wow. Ugh, man, now I'm having regrets already. I think this footage right here was from Sunday, when they were about to open. So it was just getting packed again, and I got to look around a little bit more. Here's some Tiger handhelds. Man, we thought those were cool when we were kids, man, but looking at them now, it's like, dude, what were we thinking? Like, I'm serious, man. The frames in those games, it was pretty brutal. But here's some strategy guides here. Lots of good stuff here. Oh, I got the Sonic statue there. I think that's not a statue, that's a standee. And here is the first and last Game Crazy. You guys remember Game Crazy? Well, they still exist in Portland. I had no idea. And they still have most of their stock. It was pretty insane. I was talking to the owner, and I had no idea they existed still, man. I thought they were done. But there was one that wasn't chained up with Hollywood Video. And thank goodness for that, because they are still in business. You guys probably already saw my video on New Wave Toys. I got a Cubert arcade from them, and man, they had a lot of stuff on display. I was like really impressed with them. Like I said in that video, these guys were they almost sold out of everything. The only thing they were left with was Cubert, so I picked that up from them. But seeing that boombox back there, that boombox is sick, man. It is loud as hell, and you connect it to your iPhone, and you just select the music like that. But it's like, that thing was really cool. I didn't get too much traction in my other video talking about these, but how do you guys feel about these arcades? I mean, they're more like display pieces. You could play them, they're authentic, and you can hook them to a television, and you can hook a controller to them. But I don't know if a lot of people are interested in them that watch my videos. So the people who were at this show were definitely interested in them, but a lot of them were like sold out already, or just future releases that they could only show off. So it was like, man, it was crazy, because you wanted to get those newer ones, but they're not out yet. So they only had like the prototypes out. Well, one thing's for sure, these things will definitely save you a lot of space over the one-up arcades. Can you imagine going to a friend's house and say, hey, let's play these arcades, and he has just a bunch of these set up in a room? You're like, what the heck? That'd be pretty funny. So we had a couple of hardcore Sega Saturn collectors at the show, and here is one of them. He had his own room. His name's Kay, and he has, I believe he has every version of the Sega Saturn. He has a full set of US library. I think the only thing he was missing, which I should have said that in the beginning, the only thing he's missing is actually the monitor for the Sega Saturn. Once he gets that, I think his collection will be complete. So he's been collecting this stuff ever since I've known him, I think back in 2011. So yeah, it was pretty amazing seeing this stuff. Also, let me know in the comments, do you guys still collect complete sets for certain systems these days? Let me know in the comments. Did a lot of walking around because there were so many booths that I did not want to miss while I was at the show. And man, I found some good stuff. I'm not gonna lie, man. It was really impressive what I found. You know, I would say 2019 was a pretty crazy year for PRGE, but this one, man, it's right up there with it. You know, just a lot of games, a lot of stuff around that you don't usually see. Stuff that I wanted in my collection that for years I found a lot of that here. It was overwhelming. You know, that's why I wish a lot of my friends were here. I was walking around solo this year, but still I had a great time, and I got to talk with a lot of people, so it was a good experience. All right, seeing all these books for sale, you know whose booth this is going to be. Can you guys guess? That's right, Brett Weiss. Man, I always was like nervous with Brett every time he comes to the show, because he always brings these books. I didn't know how he was bringing them. Then he told me how he was shipping them to the shows, so that's a relief. I thought he was actually like carrying them around with him or something like that. I was like, dude, what the heck? But he thinks these Halo 4s are going to be rare in the future. What do you guys think? Now, before we get into the pickups part, because I believe we're almost like 13 and a half minutes in this video, and I know you guys are itching to see the pickups, but there's one attraction that I wanted you guys to see that was really awesome at this year's show. Let's take a look. All right, folks, get ready, because we are going into a time capsule, the last Blockbuster. Oh my God. This is the room before it opened. I got to go inside and take a look, and man, I was blown away, man. I was like, dude, this feels so nostalgic, man. Like, wow, I can't believe Blockbuster is actually gone, but there's still one more left. And it was freaking here, and it was freaking fantastic. When I got in here, I tried to replay the moment how I used to like rent games. So I grabbed the game, walked up the checkout. You know, unfortunately at this time nobody was here, but put my movie down. I just wanted to feel that moment again. I thought it was pretty funny. But yeah, man, it was nice coming in here when no one was here, so I could kind of like do some filming and check everything out. But it was really nice. They had a lot of merchandise you could buy from here. NES, Blockbuster NES, I've never seen that before. That's pretty cool. And here you have your snacks. I never really picked up snacks from Blockbuster back in the day. We used to go to like I think it was a 99-cent store. back in the day. I think they still have them in California. But here are the clearance movies. I remember that section. Sometimes they have games here as well. They definitely had a lot of games here towards the closing of the original stores. There was a lot of stuff to look at in here, and one of the main reasons that Blockbuster was actually here was because they were hosting the 3rd annual Blockbuster World Video Game Championship, which hadn't been around since the mid-1990s, if any of you guys remember those. They had their own exclusive carts here for certain games. It was really nice. Everybody was really excited, and I wish I had got some filming of it. You know, I came in right towards the end of it, unfortunately, so I didn't really get to see it. But I know Adam has a video about it because he was in there the whole time. So definitely check out his channel. I'm pretty sure he has a video up showing the event. Well, guys, I wanted to edit this video a bit more, but I'm kind of in a rush to get this out, so I wasn't able to include all the footage that I wanted to. But this video is already long enough, so it's time to get to the pickups because I'm sure you guys are itching to see those. So let's take a look. Here is Fighting Rage for the PS4. Yeah, I talked about this game on my channel before because I had the Switch version. But my buddy Jesus asked me if I had the PS4 version. I told him no, and he gave me a copy of it, man. So, you know, I was still trying to learn how to appreciate this game a lot. And as I played the PS4 version, I'm really getting the flow of this game. I'm really starting to like it a lot more. I guess I was wrong when I talked about the game before, how you have 1 life. You have at least 3 lives in the game. I don't know if I was playing on hard mode or something like that, where I had 0 lives, or maybe I don't know what the hell happened. But anyways, you don't just have 1 life. You have multiple lives, and that's good. You need that in a beat 'em up game. But now I would say this game is pretty awesome. It's still missing the modes it needs to be great. Obviously online mode and some kind of offline co-op mode where you have an AI controlled partner. But man, this game really takes off. It's pretty badass once you know what you're doing. I picked up the Super Game Boy too. I actually had tried to pick this up back in 2019, but I forgot to go back to the vendor and he sold it. So when I saw it at this event, I wanted to make sure I got it. This one actually has a link port, so you go like I think you can port like link up with certain Pokemon games and maybe some other games I can't remember. But either way, still happy to have this in the collection. I picked up the Book of Spells. I don't know if you guys remember the Wonder Books that came out for the PS3. You had to use the eye camera and the Move controller to play them. They were interactive games that actually looked pretty cool. I don't know if they sold very well, but I saw this one at the show. I said, you know what, man, maybe I'll give it a try this time. But it's kind of weird though. I just don't see myself like hooking up the PS3 camera and the Move controller just to play this. This is why I wish the PlayStation 4 had backwards compatibility with the PS3, because the PS3, unfortunately, right now is collecting dust, but I will pull it out for something. I just don't know if I'll pull it out for this right now. Here's the Castlevania Symphony of the Night pixel frame. This is a mini pixel frame, and I think they did a limited run of these. I don't know what the other ones were, but I saw this one and I said I had to pick it up. As you guys can see here, this is Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and this is where Death takes out all of Alucard's weapons, which annoyed us all when we first played this game.
Alucard, what is your business here?
I've come to put an end to this.
Still befriending mortals. I'll not ask you to return to our side, but I demand you cease your attack.
I will not.
You shall regret those words. We will meet again. What?
Here's Kyra Star Knight DX. Yeah, I think I got the whole title right. This is a new NES game. I think it was actually released last year, but Limited Run actually put it out as a physical. And I saw someone selling it at one of the booths, and I decided to pick it up. There was 2 other games as well, but they were like more like rhythm games. This one's like a rhythm platform game, and I don't know if it'll catch everyone's interest, you know, but it's still kind of cool. You know, they're making new NES games. One of the things that really stands out in this game, of course, is the music. The music is very catchy, and you'll pretty much in this game, you'll pretty much catch these stars, and then once you catch a certain amount, the level ends and you move on to the next level. The levels actually look really nice. I'm actually pretty impressed with this game. I'm just kind of nervous, like saying that, you know, I don't know if it'll catch a lot of people's attention, but if you're looking for a new NES game, I would definitely say give this one a go. Next up for the Game Boy Advance is Crazy Taxi Catch a Ride. Now, don't laugh at me. I've been looking for this game for a good while, complete in box, and I was so happy when I found it at the show. So pretty much this is, of course, the arcade version of Crazy Taxi ported to the Game Boy. And I think they did a pretty good job with the port. I mean, they tried. You know, you can see the effort they put into. You know, obviously the Game Boy Advance wasn't strong enough, but I feel like, you know, the effort was pretty good. This port has a lot of the arcade voice acting in it, and also has a lot of the console modes and everything. So it was kind of cool to have that in here. But this is more of just something I wanted to collect, because I have all the Crazy Taxi games. This being the most obscure one to get, but I really do enjoy it. I'm not sure if anybody else will, but still, I think it's pretty cool.
Alright, you're amazing!
Here's Seventh Dragon 3. I guess this is a sequel to another game. I found this game by chance at the show. It was the last day. Everybody was pretty much packing up towards the end, and I went to this guy's booth and I saw it and I said, "Hey man, are you firm on the price?" And he says, "No, what are you thinking?" And we agreed on the price. I went and got cash, picked it up. I was so happy because I've been wanting this 3DS game for a while now. This is pretty much one of the last ones I actually wanted. I haven't got to the game just yet. I'm actually in the Star Ocean right now. But you guys let me know what you think about this one. I heard a lot of good things about it, and I heard some iffy things about it too. So I want to know what you guys think about it in the comments. Here's Operation Wolf for the NES. This game has so much potential, but it didn't live up because one of the main attractions of this game is using a gun, and this game didn't let you use it. They didn't let you use a zapper on it. You had to use the D-pad, which was very annoying because there's so many enemies on the screen. Trying to use a D-pad to get the target to cross over, it takes too long. You're shooting enemies, like trying not to shoot some enemies, shooting grenades that are coming at you. It's insane. But yeah, for $1, I said why not? But at the same time, I'm like, man, I could have used that $1 for something else. So here's Air Fortress. I used to own this game. I don't know what happened to my copy of it, but I decided to pick one up again, of course. And this game brings back so many memories. Air Fortress, I played, I don't know how young I was. I remember I was over a friend's house. We were trying to get far in the game. I could never get past the 5th fortress back then. There was something in that level. It was like a maze or something like that. And I never got past it. It really annoyed me. But I'm going to play it again now, get past that level. I think I got past it years later, but I just can't remember. So anyways, this one's a lot of fun if you haven't seen it before. Pretty much you go to these air fortresses and you have to blow up the energy core and then escape. So first part of the levels plays like a shoot 'em up, and then once you get to the air fortress, it kind of plays like a floaty platform game. Very weird, but it's still fun. You have your jetpack and you're kind of like using that to kind of like get around. But your main objective is to get to the energy core of the fortress and blow that up. Now, most of the time it's hidden, or sometimes it's out in plain view once you get past certain levels, or certain areas, I would say. Once you find it and destroy it, you have to get out of the base because the base goes dark. And pretty much you gotta do it before you run out of energy. That's pretty much like your timer in this game. And when the fortress goes dark, it's playing this eerie music, man. It makes you want to get out of there. So you gotta hurry up and find that exit to get out, because if you run out of energy, it's game over pretty much. So sometimes, like I said, it could be a maze to find the energy core and the escape hatch, but not impossible. Mario and Wario. Man, I've been wanting this for a long time. I saw this back when I was a kid. I was telling everybody, hey, it's Super Mario Brothers 5. It's not. It's a point-and-click game that's really a lot of fun. As you can see here, it comes with a pad, a mouse, and, of course, the game. Very impressive. You know, I wish this would have came out in America, but it's okay. I got this at the show for around $15. I was very happy with that price. I think most people will like this game, especially Mario fans. You know, it's a bit different, but it's still actually really a lot of fun trying to get Mario past the obstacles without getting killed. So definitely something you guys might want to keep your eye out on if you're a Mario fan. Snoopy versus the Red Baron on the PS2. I saw this at the show for $4, and I've talked about this game on my channel before. Pretty much Snoopy lives out his fantasy of fighting his nemesis, the Red Baron, and the game reminds me a lot of Sky Gunner. And the game has a really cool two-player mode as well, like a split-screen two-player mode where you go against friends. This game is more fun than it should be. Back in the day when I played this, I was totally impressed. This is definitely what I would call a hidden gem on the system. I don't know if a lot of people know about this game, but you know, for those who don't, obviously hidden gem. It's on the PSP as well, and I think they had a sequel come out for the Xbox 360 Live. I'm not really sure. It might have been a reimagination of this one or a brand new game in general. But hey, definitely check this one out if you see it in the wild. I found a sealed copy of Boxing Fever for $3 at the show. I was like, man, this is very similar to Wade Hickson's Counter Punch. If you played that, obviously Mike Tyson's Punch Out, and a couple other games I can't think of right now. Punch King is another crazy one too, but I never really played that one. I've only seen it. But anyways, this is a cool boxing game. If you like those type of games, I would say it's still one of those games that's on the cheap, so you guys might want to check it out. It's lower on the tier list compared to Wade Hickson and Mike Tyson's Punch Out, but definitely I still think it's worth picking up.
Let's do it. To the mat.
Here's a combo of Just Ignore Them and My Big Sister Collection. This is one of those Play Asia Vita releases, and I always felt like I'm pretty done with the Vita, but I found this game on the cheap pretty much because there was a man at the show. He was selling a lot of like limited run games, Vita games from Play Asia and all kind of other stuff, and he had 20% off, and the original price was $50, so I got this for $40, and it comes with soundtrack, manual, all kind of cool stuff. These games, I vaguely know about them, but they look interesting enough, especially for the price point I paid for them. And then just to have another Vita game, I don't think I'm going to really collect any more Vita games. But, I don't know. If I find them on the cheap like that, I'll go for it. Maybe if I find something interesting. But I feel like I'm done with that system. And when I say done, that doesn't mean like, no, I'm not going to play the Vita anymore. It's just like collecting certain games for it. I feel like it, this was pretty much, I feel like it was the last one I really wanted. So the Vita is a legacy system now, so I'm just gonna enjoy the games I have on it, and yeah, go from there. But who knows? I'm saying that now, but I might find something else later on. Who knows? So I picked up Ikari Warriors 3: The Rescue. So if you guys seen my NES collection video, you saw that I had that game in that video, but I didn't really show it off. The reason why, that label is really jacked up, but I saw this label and I decided, yep, I gotta pick this one up. So anyways, Ikari Warriors 3, I played this game over a friend's house when I was a kid, and I was actually blown away by it. But I will never forget the scene in the second level of the dancing soldiers. Some of you guys, old school folks, know what I'm talking about, and I cannot get that out of my head, like seeing that scene. Ikari Warriors 3 is something else, and I actually feel that this is actually better than the arcade game. Arcade game was all kinds of weird. But anyways, guys, if you see this game out there, you want to collect a cool beat 'em up game for your NES, I would say definitely try this one out. I do want to mention that the game is actually on the SNK Anniversary Collection for PS4 and Switch, so if you don't want to play it on a retro console, you can play it on those systems as well. Next up, we have Godzilla Domination. Now, what's crazy about this game is that I was supposed to get it a few years back at PRGE, but my buddy found it, and I couldn't find a complete in-box copy, but now, this was my year, and I finally got it. So if you want to know how this game is, it's a versus battle game, and it's very similar to the King of Monsters by SNK. I feel like this is a spiritual successor, but good news for you guys, this game was actually made by Way Forward, so a lot of people don't know that. I know their name is not on the box, but they are the developers of this game, so you guys might want to keep a lookout for this one. Here's SNK Tag Team Frenzy Diamond Collection. This comes with a bunch of cool stuff. I found it at the show for a really good deal. I was very happy with it. And, I said it was right in front of me. So I said, you know what, let me go ahead and pick this up. Now, I talked about this game on my channel before. I did like a breaking the seal on it, and I talked about it. So I won't go too much into detail here. But I thought this was a pretty simple, fun fighting game once you get used to the tag team mode in this game pretty much. So it kind of like plays like Tekken, where you have to... if one of your characters loses all the energy in a battle, the fight's over. So you have to really switch between them so they don't get killed. But the only way you can defeat your opponent is by doing a super move. So it's always back and forth who gets the super move first, and are you going to be able to block it? So it could be very tense sometimes. Also, here are the contents that come in the Diamond Collection. I didn't feel like busting them all out, so I just thought I'd show you guys a stock photo here. The only thing in my collection is missing the hat, and I think I'll be able to find that later on. So it was definitely worth the price I paid for it. And just going back to the game itself, I think SNK put a lot of heart into this one, to the character endings, the story mode, the hilarious dialogue. I mean, this game has it all. If you're a hardcore SNK fan, I think this one will still put a smile on your face.
Finish! You win! ルオンさん、こういう時くらいは人をからかう態度と
Medal of Honor Underground. So I've heard a lot of good things about this game, but I've never played it. And this Medal of Honor was pretty much the king of first-person shooters, at least that I remember, before like Call of Duty had took over. I think the first 3 Metal Slug games, this being the second one, at least I think it is, were really good. But Call of Duty just kind of blew it out the water. But back on the PS1 days, man, I hear this was really a solid series. I had no idea they made Puyo Pop for the Game Boy Advance, and as soon as I saw it, I said, yep, I gotta pick this one up. I remember playing the one on the DS back in the day and really loving that. And pretty much, most of you might have played Puyo Pop and not really realized it. It's pretty much like a Tetris game, but it came out to America that I first know of as Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, so they changed it to that game. So if you played that game, then you know what Puyo Pop is. But the Game Boy Advance pretty much plays like any of the other games. It's a puzzle game, really a lot of fun, and it has its own story to it, just like the other games. But anyways, guys, I would say if you see this one out there or any Puyo Pop game on any system, definitely try them out.
Oh, great!
Got Buffy the Vampire Slayer box only, so I'll have to save this game for another video, but it was something else cool I got at the show. And here is Crime Crackers. I had this game years ago. I don't know what happened to that version, but it was pretty beat up, so I was happy to find this better version there. It even came with the stickers inside, but pretty much this is like a dungeon crawler shooter game, I would say. It really reminds me of old school shooters like Wolfenstein. Obviously dungeon crawling and everything, but you're just using like an aiming mechanism, kind of like a shoot 'em up. It's really weird, but really cool at the same time. It's one of those games that I hope eventually gets an English translation because I think it's so well done. Even got a sequel, and I need to look for that. But definitely check this one out if you into imports. I would say it won't let you down, and I say it's friendly enough, even though I don't read Japanese. It's still fun to where I can play it and still enjoy it. Alright, here is X versus Server. I guess this is based off, I'm pretty sure this is based off a movie. This is a first-person shooter game, and this is one of those games that actually pushes the Game Boy Advance to its limits. It's very impressive. I actually have the sequel to this game, and that game's good, but just not as good as this one. I'm happy I found this one at the show. With this added to the collection, I feel like my Game Boy Advance collection is really coming to what I want it to be. There's a few other games I want. I'm going to introduce some more in this list, of course, but man, finding Game Boy Advance games in box, man, is just something, man, it's just an awesome experience for me. I got Avenging Spirit from Retrobit while I was at the show, and just to talk about a little bit about this game. Now, I feel like most people that have played this game played the Game Boy version. A lot of people didn't even know this was an arcade game. I think most people who like adventure platformer type games, or I guess you could even call this game maybe somewhat a beat 'em up as well, depending on which character you possess. But overall, I would say this is a great game that Retrobit has brought back for modern audiences. I know the black and white may throw some people off, but if you play in a Game Boy Color or a Super Game Boy, there will be color added to the game. But let me know in the comments how you guys feel about Avenging Spirit. Now we have Battletoads and Double Dragons for the NES from Retrobit. Now, there are 4 versions of this game that are out there. There are the NES version, which you're seeing here, the Super Nintendo version, the Genesis version, and also the Game Boy version, which I don't think a lot of people know about. Matter of fact, that might be a good game for Retrobit to bring back, the Game Boy version. But anyways, going into this version and the Genesis version have scenes that are cut out of the Super Nintendo version for some reason, and pretty much those scenes are the ones that when you beat a level and defeat an enemy, it shows them beat up and Professor T. Bird talking crap to him. For some reason, they cut that out of the SNES version. I have no reason why, but I thought that was pretty weird. But anyways, for the most part, this game is a beat 'em up, at least for the first 3 levels. The 4th level is kind of like this shooter level that's it takes a little bit to get used to, but it's not that hard. But I had a lot of fun with this game back in the day, and I think a lot of people will, I don't know, man. I feel like they'll come to love this game if they give it a go. If you haven't played Battletoads and Double Dragons, like, this is pretty much the ultimate game. At least that's what I used to say back in the day. I love this game. And the Nintendo version is pretty good. So it's definitely comparable, what I would say, the Genesis version. Even though I consider the SNES version the superior version out of all of them, the Nintendo version is pretty badass itself. So, but definitely give this version of the game a go, especially if you're an NES collector. I used to love Battletoads and Double Dragons back in the day, and I still love it to this day. Hopefully, maybe one day somebody will come out. Well, never mind, because Rare is owned by Xbox, so I doubt we'll get some kind of like sequel or Ultimate Team Up again. But still, definitely a game that's worthy of your time. Definitely check this one out. Here's Van Helsing for the Game Boy Advance. I remember playing the PS2 version and really loving that. It kind of plays like a little bit like I don't want to say a low-budget Devil May Cry, but it was still pretty fun. And the Game Boy Advance version, it's just not some knockoff. They actually try to make it a pretty good game, and I thought it was pretty decent, at least in the beginning part so far. I haven't got that far in the game yet, but it seems very interesting. And I think if you're a fan of the movie, I think you'll probably get into the Game Boy Advance game. I think it's really good, so, well, I hope it's really good, so as I get further in the game. But yeah, if anybody's played it, let me know what you guys think about it. I mean, for $5, I felt like I thought it was worth a pickup. And here we have Silent Scope. I was very happy to find this. Now, you guys may think Silent Scope is pretty lame on the Game Boy Advance, but that's far from the truth. This game is actually pretty awesome. I was so happy to find this game complete in box. So, if you haven't played the Silent Scope series, it was they were old arcade games where you use a sniper rifle to take out your targets in a certain amount of time. The Game Boy Advance version follows that, but obviously you don't have a gun, so you have to use the control pad. It's actually pretty easy to navigate your sniper rifle on the Game Boy Advance. It's actually well done. You'll move it around, you'll do zoom ins, and you can do headshots, arm shots, all that stuff. So it really want to say that it captures the arcade games feel on the Game Boy Advance. I mean, this is definitely a cool game to get. A lot of people were scoffed at the Game Boy Advance version, but I gotta say, if you pass this game up, you're really missing out. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys saw Bubble Bobble Old and New on one of my Game Boy Advance Hidden Gems videos. This is pretty much Bubble Bobble with a fresh coat of paint. What's really nice about this one is that you get the original game as well as the new version, which is just, like I said, a fresh coat of paint, but it plays a little bit more fluent than the original version. Definitely worth picking this one up if you're a fan of Bubble Bobble. I wish they would do, well, I'm hoping for a new Rainbow Islands game someday, but I feel like most of the time they're going to stick with Bubble Bobble over that game. But anyways, glad I picked this one up. Definitely keep your eyes out for it. Here's Medal of Honor Infiltrator for the Game Boy Advance. So this is like a Top Gun run and gun shooter, very different from the other Medal of Honor games out there. I've talked about this game on my channel before because I found a loose copy for really cheap a long time ago, and then I got one of the mini boxes for it to kind of make it look uniform. But finding this game in box of the show was a dream come true. I couldn't believe that I found this. I found this game, Crazy Taxi, and Godzilla for the Game Boy Advance, and man, I was so happy to find these games. But just to let you guys know, if you ever see this game out there, I mean, most likely most of you guys will go for a loose copy because that'll be a lot cheaper. This game is a must-have. It is really cool. Very impressed with what they put out here. Last game on this list is Return of the Ninja. So I found out about this game because my buddy Evan years ago was looking for this game complete and we could not find it. It was crazy how rare this game was. But Limited Run put out a reprint of it, and I saw this at the show and I said, you know what, I'm gonna pick this game up. Evan was telling me all kind of good things about this game, so I trust what he says. He's a serious collector like myself when it comes to Game Boy stuff. We always collect our stuff uniform, and when I say uniform, like in box. And just happy to pick this one up, so if you guys have played this one, let me know how you feel about it. Alright guys, so hope you enjoyed the video. The Portland Retro Gaming Expo is back, and it couldn't come back at a better time. Had a great time at the show. Hopefully next year more of my friends will be able to show up because it's always nice to have them around. But anyways guys, that's all I got for you in this video. Hope you enjoyed. Radical Reggie, and I will see you all later.